Happy Freedom Day and welcome to the daily reflection from Cathedral for Monday the 19th of July. I'm Canon Nigel Davies, the Vicar of the Close. How has your day been this Freedom Day? Has anything changed? Have you felt any different? Or is it just a case of one set of worries has been replaced by a different set of worries? Before today, we went out perhaps anxious about what rules we were going to break. Many of us will have had the experience of going out towards a shop or even getting to the shop and then feeling in our pocket and realizing we've come out with a mask, and the walk of shame as we return home to get a mask. Now we're replacing these rules with guidance. And so that is something which we all have to get our heads around. The guidance is very fulsome, but it gives us a whole range of different variations. We can perm things from several places, and so it gives us a lot to think about and perhaps to worry about. Sadly, I had a rather unchristian thought today when I realized that the PM was going to have to self-isolate on the day in which we were supposed to be free to come and go as we wish. The Germans have a word for it, which is Schadenfreude. So there we are. Perhaps I shouldn't have been thinking those thoughts. So let's move on. What we probably need now in this new free world is to be sensible and sensitive. Indeed, it's what the Prime Minister has urged upon us. We should be cautious with these new liberties. Law has been replaced by liberty, and we're in the middle of a transition from all that we were not allowed to do to all that we perhaps are now allowed to do. The last 18 months have been a case of do what we say, follow the rules, and things enshrined in law. Sadly, it was a case of, in some quarters, doing what we say rather than doing what we do. And for a long time, we received that kind of mixed message. You must do this. And then suddenly we found out that certain folk were not entirely following the rules as they should. Actions were then undermined, or their words were undermined by their actions. When things are like that, there is an awful lot of confusion, which I dare say there will be now with the different rules and freedoms that we now have. Everyone can make up their own minds about how they go about their lives. But as I said, the PM wants us all to be cautious. And one person's freedom, the opportunity to do what we like, can in fact be another person's imprisonment, because there are many who will perhaps be apprehensive of going into crowded places where people aren't necessarily going to be wearing masks. And it doesn't help when the politicians are in disagreement about whether Freedom Day is a good thing or what freedoms we should have and what things we should keep. I dare say it will be a headache for us all as we navigate our way through the different things. So how can we find a way through it? Well, I've thought it might be an idea to look at Christian principles rather than the guidance. And so I want to quote St. Paul writing to the Corinthians, who says this: "You say, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. You say, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. No one should seek their own good, but the good of others." Now that sounds a really good maxim to work by, but it sounds very much like new territory, perhaps. That sounds strange to some of you, but in fact, it's probably not, because during the pandemic, people showed great care for the vulnerable. They went the extra mile. They were more considerate of others. They were very willing to try and help those who were isolating. The stories are legion, and it was wonderful to see how many people actually were more caring of their neighbours and friends than perhaps they had been previously. or it's a case of perhaps we hadn't seen how caring people can be. Such an approach post-Freedom Day is something that we will need to keep up and maintain. It's all very well to say, well, we have all these rights now, we can do exactly what we want, but rights, in my view, shouldn't be paramount. We have responsibilities to the vulnerable and to the anxious. And any good society is a society where the vulnerable, the marginalized, the people who haven't a voice are the ones who are cared for especially well. So I hope that you will be enjoying some new freedoms. I hope that the weight of worry will be lifted by the fact that we can do far more and that life in some regards is returning to normal. But I do hope that everybody out there will be sensitive to the needs of those around them, that they will be thinking most of all more about others than about how they behave, what they can do, and how their freedoms are more important than others. Thanks for living, or rather, thanks for listening and watching, not just thanks for living too. Bye.